We'll call the regular meeting of the Elgin City Council for January 8th, 2014 to order. Item 8 is an ordinance amending Chapter 6.04 of the Elgin Municipal Code 1976 as amended, entitled General Business License.
Move for approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded for approval. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Preet.
With your permission, Mayor, may I ask Mr. Kozel to approach while I ask a few questions of him?
Councilman?
Mr. Kozel, I have a couple questions. This is before us to keep the business license and its requirements without any cost to business owners. Is that correct, reasonably correct?
That's correct.
Okay. What will the penalty be for a business owner who does not get a free license?
The regular general penalty provisions of the ordinance, $50 a day for each day the violation continues to exist, up to a maximum fine of $750 a day. It's a penalty provision that generally applies to any ordinance that doesn't specifically delineate a fine.
You just heard Assistant City Manager Kozel say you will still be ticketed and brought into adjudication for not getting a free license. And I can't see us voting on this. I'm not going to support this without at least some cost. I don't want to do it free because free means we're going to lose money. And if we get rid of it all, we're not going to lose anything. So that's what's before us here. And I firmly believe having no law is better than a bad law. And this proposal here makes it a requirement for no cost. We're going to lose money. We're going to be hauling people in for not coming in to get something free. And I can't see it. So I'm not going to support this.
Ms. Powell.
Thank you. Rick, at some point, did we look to the state of Illinois to provide a local listing of businesses? Did they have something like that that we could or could not use? And if they did, was there a particular reason why we chose not to use it, or does a list exist at the state level that is kept on businesses?
What's actually happening at the state level now, the state is initiating programs in which municipalities voluntarily push the information to a central repository at the state level. Maintaining the business license database will enable the city to begin doing that.
So we would be responsible
Correct.
for providing that information to the state. The state would not be collecting that information on their own and then providing it to us.
That's correct.
Mr. Gadd.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, I would take a little issue with that. I'm going to explain why I've got an email from the state of Illinois here, Economic Development Committee. This is one of those deals, again, kind of like the last issue, half good, half unnecessary as far as this one goes. The good part is we're ending the fee. A lot of businesses are already struggling as it is, and a couple $100, $250 a year added to a small business may not seem like much to some, but it is. The second reason it's unnecessary is that I just received an email. I've been waiting almost 6 to 8 weeks. Contact made with the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity through the Chamber of Commerce. State of Illinois does have this data. Not because they're receiving from municipalities and local communities. It's because Dun & Bradstreet keeps a registry of all businesses and communities. And the state has tapped into that. And they are willing to share it with us at no cost. None whatsoever. It's right here. I forwarded it on to the city manager and Sean, and the Chamber of Commerce has been made aware of this. They are also going to tap in and use this as a marketing tool if that's what you really want. The problem we had with our license program, as you remember the discussion, Rick, was that the high number of inaccuracies in the data that was purchased by the city. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So we started with bad data, and the program is not needed anymore because we can tap in, and we have an end user agreement right now waiting for a signature from the representative of the city, and we will get this data. So I really don't think we need to take on this expense and continue running a program that now doesn't generate enough revenue to pay for itself. So I'm going to continue to vote no, even though half the ordinance is good, the part that doesn't charge business owners. Thank you. Councilwoman Rauschenberger, the state uses this as an economic development tool. And they were bragging about it at a meeting I was attending on workforce development at the Chamber of Commerce. And when I heard those words, I immediately seized on it. I wish I had had it, but now somebody has to sign. I just forwarded it to Sean this morning, and we were talking about this because I knew it was on the agenda for tonight. They are talking and raving about their data in being able to inventory businesses and what type of businesses, how many businesses. So what we're doing is recreating the wheel here. I don't think that's necessary. The state has it. The state will share it with us as long as we sign the end user agreement. Is that correct, Sean?
Well,
The agreement, anyway.
yeah, we have the end user agreement, looking at the email that you shared with me, to access this Dun & Bradstreet database. Unfortunately, for the purpose of discussion here this evening, Mr. McEwen doesn't say what's in the Dun & Bradstreet, but he did have the conversation with you.
And a room full of people.
Obviously, this is something that we could verify. If the council would want to wait and get the information, but certainly Dun & Bradstreet's a reputable company. I just don't know what's in it. What I do know is when we originally initiated the business license a couple of years ago, it didn't exist then.
Yeah. No, and he talked about it as if it was a new program, because I'd never heard of it. The chamber didn't know about it. In fact, I bounced it over to the chamber and said, we were thinking of giving you this responsibility to do the inventorying of businesses in Elgin rather than us doing it through the business license. So maybe the best thing to do here is, I don't want to table it because the checks are still being held. We can probably pass it,
And then, right.
take the fees out. We can always bring it back, I would think, at a later date if we find out the details, because I don't know what's in this Dun & Bradstreet link either. I think it's going to be pretty accurate, though, if the state of Illinois is using it for economic development.
I think that's a very good suggestion, and we have to find out what data they're going to be providing. Does it serve our purposes? And, this is something that's, the information will already be starting to come in for us anyway. It's going to take a couple months to do that. And it doesn't hurt to have them, doesn't cost anybody anything, just respond. We'll keep moving forward, and then we'll sort this out over the next few months.
All right, so we're going to vote to eliminate the fees and keep the structure in place until we've gotten some real evidence of what Dun & Bradstreet through the state of Illinois. I don't think anybody here knows what it is or what it was. I think this is something newer that hasn't been around. And because the state's trying, whatever my fellow councilwoman here thinks, and their efficiency or not, this is pretty easy stuff. This is done through a nationally recognized firm that specializes in this. I think the state can work with them pretty fine. So I'm going to support this motion tonight with that one condition, that we bring back this Dun & Bradstreet stuff and have another discussion about getting rid of the rest of the license. Is that fair enough?
I need to see.
Mr. Steve?
Well, unless the council were to amend in whole or in part the ordinance, we will have a business license ordinance in place. We will have the ordinance. We won't have a fee, but we will still have a business license ordinance when we leave here this evening, if you vote only on what is in front of you.
Because I don't usually change my vote. If one council person asks to bring back an issue like this one on the structure itself, it'll be on an agenda down the road.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Anything else? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Stun?
Yes.
Gavin?
Yes.
Moeller?
Yes.
Powell?
Yes.
Krigi?
No.
Rauschenberger?
Yes.
Shaw?
Yes.
Stefan?
Yes.
Mayor Captain?
Yes, the motion's approved 8-1.